Today we're doing a deep dive into something almost everyone goes through, but we rarely talk about it honestly. The hidden architecture of pain.
Hmm.
We tend to think of emotional pain as, a temporary wound, something that heals and leaves a neat little scar.
But that's such an incomplete picture, isn't it? Pain doesn't just injure you,
Yeah.
it it acts more like a sculptor.
A sculptor, I like that.
Yeah, it's this powerful internal force that literally reshapes the architecture of how you think, how you feel, how you move through the world.
And it lives in those quiet, everyday choices. It rewires your whole nervous system. So today we want to go beyond the surface, past the smile someone puts on and look at the deep, sometimes invisible marks that pain leaves behind.
Our mission for this, really, is to just hold up a mirror. If you've been through something profound, we want to help you feel seen in these shifts. We're going to explore 10 of the most profound ways that suffering can transform a person.
So let's start with maybe the most fundamental thing of all, your actual grasp on reality, time.
Right. The first transformation, and it's often the most disorienting, is this deeply fragmented sense of time. For anyone who's dealt with chronic grief or trauma, time just loses that straight, linear quality.
Yeah, you hear people say the days blur together, but this is something more than that. It's not just boredom. It's like
Yeah.
your internal clock has been shattered.
Exactly.
Hmm.
You might be here physically today, but your emotional self is stuck in a moment from 5 years ago
Or 10 years ago.
or 10 years ago. Experts have a name for it. They call it temporal fragmentation. Your emotional system is so overloaded it can't file away memories properly. So you stop living in the present. You're either reliving the past, trying to find where it went wrong,
Or you're just constantly bracing for some future disaster.
which makes one just relaxing almost impossible.
And that constant state of alert, it has to lead into our second point, which is the art of reading between the lines. Pain makes your intuition incredibly sharp.
It's an amazing adaptation, really.
Hmm.
Your nervous system becomes hyper-tuned. It learns, often without you even realizing it, to detect the tiniest shifts, a change in tone, a half-second pause.
Things that used to be meaningless suddenly feel like warning signs.
And that gives you this powerful emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
But there's a paradox here, isn't there?
Right. Because that same radar that keeps you safe also makes you so vulnerable to, well, to misreading things. You can project old fears onto a totally innocent situation.
Exactly. So if you're talking to someone who's been through it, you have to realize that a small thing, a sigh, looking away for a second, it can carry this immense weight for them. It can be a trigger.
It's like you're in this constant negotiation between a sharp gut feeling and your rational mind. So it's clear this rewiring of perception. It has to change how we relate to the most basic human feelings. Let's talk about joy and strength.
This brings us to the third transformation, a very reluctant relationship with joy. We think of joy as this, easy, light feeling, but after deep pain, it can vanish so slowly you forget what an unfiltered smile even feels like.
And when it does try to come back, it can feel strange, even frightening.
Yes. You see this a lot with what's called survivor guilt.
That feeling that you're somehow betraying your own past, your own struggle, if you dare to feel happy again.
That's it, exactly. The pain casts such a long shadow. And for some, this internal fight is so draining that they just adopt a kind of resting blank expression. It's a shield.
They're not angry or bored, they're just resting. From the sheer effort of trying to hold a smile that doesn't feel real yet.
It's a protection against the vulnerability that real joy demands.
And yet, on the flip side of that, pain can be this terrible but powerful fuel, which is our fourth point.
Yeah.
A drive to create something meaningful.
Suffering is rarely meaningless in the long run. So many people channel that intense emotional energy. It could be art or music.
Or it could be advocacy, community organizing.
Yes. You feel this deep, deep pull to be kind, to listen, to stop other people from touching the same hot stove that burned you.
It's about turning your own story into a form of protection for someone else. Your healing becomes tied to this bigger purpose.
Which flows perfectly into number 5, a complete redefinition of what strength is. Before, strength might have meant being tough, being stoic.
But after, the definition just completely changes.
It does. The new strength is so quiet, it's so human. It's not about pretending you're okay.
It's about showing up and trying again, even if you failed yesterday. It's allowing yourself to finally cry in therapy and say, I'm not okay.
That's real strength. The core question always becomes, does this pain break me or does it remake me? When you go through those battles, hardships stop being dead ends. They become stepping stones.
That deep internal shift has to change how you deal with other people. That brings us to social contracts. And number 6, complicated relationships with trust.
Pain teaches you caution, and that caution can create these polar opposite reactions to trust. You either trust way too easily because you're desperate for connection,
Or you trust no one at all. Every relationship feels like a potential landmine.
and that often looks like hyper-independence, doesn't it?
Yes. You fight so hard against asking for help because relying on someone feels like giving them the keys to your vulnerability, and that just feels too risky.
The analogy I always come back to is that trust is like a broken bone. It can heal, but it needs time and care and a feeling of safety.
And you have to accept that needing someone is just part of being human. It's not a weakness.
No.
And when you felt powerless yourself, that brings up number 7, a fierce sensitivity to injustice. People who've been hurt often have zero tolerance for seeing other people suffer unfairly.
It's the great paradox of powerlessness, isn't it? The experience seeds this incredibly intense sense of justice. Suddenly you find yourself standing up for a total stranger.
Or speaking out against something that's just wrong, even when it's uncomfortable. Pain gives you this moral clarity.
It becomes the seed of advocacy. You speak for people who feel silenced because you know exactly what that silence feels like.
This clarity, though, often comes paired with number 8, which is a habit of expecting the worst.
And we should be clear, this isn't just pessimism. It's a survival strategy. It's your mind learning to brace for impact just in case.
It's like preparing for a hurricane when the sky is blue. It protects you from shock, but the cost is huge.
Because you can never fully relax into the good moments. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
So what does hope even look like then, when you carry that weight?
That's the key question. True hope. In this context, it isn't some blind belief that nothing bad will ever happen again. It's the quiet courage to believe this moment might be different.
Combined with the strength to face it if it's not.
That's it. That's mature hope.
And that courage is really the foundation for our last 2 and maybe most profound transformations. Number 9 is about rewiring how you love.
Pain completely changes the risk-reward calculation of love. Some people become intensely cautious. They hold back to avoid future heartbreak.
And others do the opposite. They love harder, faster, more intensely, maybe trying to make up for what they lost.
And we have to acknowledge the shadow side, the difficult part. Unhealed pain. It can be passed on. It can create these destructive cycles.
Which is why simple, everyday kindness is never, ever trivial. One small act of compassion can be the very thing that helps someone start to pivot away from that pattern.
It can be a hinge point. And that leads us to our final transformation, number 10, which is really the peak of this whole journey.
A profound capacity to hold space for others.
Yes. People who have known deep suffering, they often become the safest harbors for everyone around them.
Because they know how to just sit in silence with someone else's pain. They nod instead of trying to fix it. They validate feelings instead of explaining them away.
This goes so far beyond just empathy. We could call it lived compassion.
Lived compassion, I love that.
They don't have to guess what it feels like. They know. And that knowledge makes them feel intrinsically safe to be around. They've built an internal shelter that's big enough for 2.
So if any of these 10 transformations, if they resonate with you, it means the pain you went through wasn't for nothing. It didn't just wound you, it shaped you into someone deeply aware and intuitive and profoundly human.
Go back to that first metaphor we used. Healing isn't about erasing the pain or scrubbing away the scars. It's about growing strong in the cracks the experience left behind.
And that's where the light gets in.
That's where the new architecture of who you are is built.
So we want to leave you with a final thought to carry with you. Which of these changes in how you see the world, what you feel your purpose is, how you connect with others, which ones have become the most dominant in your life? What does your own unique architecture of quiet strength look like today?